Hello and welcome everyone to Silke Learn German. My name is Silke Krieger-Ford. I'm a qualified native German teacher. This video is about genders in the German language. So why have I put together this presentation? Why have I put together this video? Well, over the years of teaching, a lot of my students have struggled with genders and I've often wondered what genders are, whether they matter, do they make a difference? Well, first of all, unlike in English, nouns in German have a gender, so they can either be masculine, feminine, or neuter. These genders, unfortunately, are very often not related to the meaning of the word. So one example, a skirt in German is masculine, so der Rock. A tie, however, is feminine, die Krawatte. So the very common question then that I get asked by students is, do genders matter? Well, you can generally still be understood even if you get the gender wrong. However, they do affect areas like adjective endings, and it also just means that your German would not be correct if you got the gender wrong. So I generally would always advise a student to make sure they learn a noun with its gender. So obviously the question is, how can you learn the genders? Are there any rules? Are there any strategies? So I have found 5 different ways that over the years some of my students have used and have found beneficial. So number 1, you could learn them by heart. Number 2, color code them in a vocabulary book in an online file. Number 3, you could associate them with an arbitrary picture. Number 4, you could link nouns of the same gender. And number 5, you could actually learn some of the gender rules or try to learn all of the gender rules. So I'm going to go through all of them in turn, and then my suggestion is try them and see which one works for you and use that then. So number 1 then will be to learn genders by heart. So you maybe learn a few masculine nouns one day, feminine ones the next day, etc. Then you would keep testing yourself or get someone to test you, or maybe even use something like Quizlet, something online where you can create flashcards and activities to check whether you have learned them and whether you can recall them. So number 2 would be to color code them. So you'd use 3 colors for the 3 genders, either again using paper, doing that on the computer, or possibly even using an online resource. The third method works very well for some learners. So you would pick 3 arbitrary pictures and randomly allocate each one a gender. So for example, you could say a picture of a beach is masculine, the forest would be feminine, and a mountain would be neuter. Then you would need to either print off a very large copy of these pictures or save them on the computer. Every time you then come across a new noun, you would write it on that picture and in your mind associate the word with the picture. And then later on you might think, oh yes, the dog was walking on the beach, the cat was walking through the forest, and then remember, okay, so the beach was masculine, so therefore it must be der Hund, whereas the forest was feminine and hence it would be die Katze. Okay, so another method you could try is to make up a story, and it doesn't have to be in German, but in that story you would link nouns that have the same gender, and obviously try to make a very maybe strange story or an obscure story, so one that you can remember. And later on you would hopefully recall the gender of one of those nouns, and then by recalling the story, all of them. Number 5 is to actually learn the gender rules. Although these rules don't cover every word, they don't work all the time. Some learners find them quite useful. So at this point, if you did want to have a look at the rules, I have uploaded a Word document onto my website. The link is in the description. If you go to the grammar section and then click on nouns, you will find the Word document as well as activities and resources that you can use. So one quick activity now, try to see if you either know the genders of these nouns here or if you can work them out using the gender rules. The answers are on the next slide. So here are the answers. See how many of these you got right. So if you did want to practice this a little bit more, do go to my website where you find a variety of worksheets and activities. So thank you very much for watching, and remember, for more resources, for details of my teaching as well as activities and worksheets, etc., visit my website Silky Learn German, and also like and subscribe the YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye. Tschüss.